It is now proper to illustrate this second type of temptation, noted at the end of chapter 4 of this gate, with examples from which the rest of the cases can be deduced, so that a person may be wary of them, with God's help, by knowing them. Because for every form of good, there is a scourge that can destroy it. Whoever knows of the various afflictions that undermine right conduct will know how to avoid them, but he that knows only the good will not retain any of it, because of all the ills that beset it. One of the pious used to instruct his disciples, first learn what is evil, in order to avoid it, and then learn what is good, and do it. The scripture says, "Plow up your unplowed field, do not sow among the thorns." Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, in regard to fraudulent weights and measures, "Woe to me if I speak of them, and woe to me if I do not speak of them. If I speak of them, cheats might learn of them. If I do not speak of them, the cheats might say, the Torah scholars are not familiar with our practices." Later the question was asked, did he speak of them or not? The answer given was, he did speak of them, basing his decision on the verse, "For the ways of God are straight, and the upright walk in them, but transgressors stumble in them." I say then, that if the evil inclination fails in its attempts to raise doubts in your mind on all the points mentioned so far in this gate, it will argue with you about them, citing objections and proofs, in order to discredit your true notions. When you perceive the falsity of its position, and the weakness of its arguments, so that it cannot stand up to you, or disprove what you know to be true and correct, from what has been previously mentioned in this gate, it will then try to tempt you, and cause you to err in your own soul. The evil inclination will say to you, "I'm so happy that you have reached such a state, that your faith is strong, and your heart is undivided towards God. You have already attained a degree of piety unequaled by anyone else in your generation. This is more than enough of an expression of your gratitude to the Creator for His kindness and grace. You should also conduct yourself so as to fulfill some of your obligations to human beings. For, as you know, they can further your interests or bring harm to you. And, as you have found out, if they are pleased with you, you will have honor. But if they are angry with you, you are heading for oblivion. You should therefore try to do what will please them, so as to win their favor. As our masters of blessed memory said, anyone in whom the spirit of his fellow creatures takes pleasure, the spirit of the omnipresent takes pleasure. Answer it this way, what good will it do me to find favor with one who is as weak as I am, who does not have the power either to help or harm me? The scripture says, forget about man, whose breath is in his nostrils, for of what account is he? Even if such a debt did exist, how could I satisfy all my contemporaries, when I cannot satisfy the members of my own household, much less other people? As to what you quoted from the sayings of the masters of blessed memory, it does not imply an obligation to attempt to please all people. Rather, its meaning is like what one of the wise men said to his son in his will. My son, it is impossible for you to win favor of all people. Try rather to win God's favor, and he will make you pleasing to people. As it is written, when God is pleased with a man's ways, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. Moreover, if someone is admired and praised by all the people, young and old, and his deeds are pleasing to them, this is proof that God, may he be exalted, has sown love for him in people's hearts and given him a good name that is on their tongues. It is something that the Creator does not do for those who hate him. It is clear and powerful proof that God is pleased with this person, but that a pious person should strive and labor to gain praise of men, for his service of God is not in accord with the code of conduct of the pious. Beware, therefore, of this and other such attempts of the evil inclination to entice you, for it seeks to lead you along on this road until it has brought you down into the trap of hypocrisy. When it praises you, answer it as follows, what is it that you commend me for? That I am aware of my obligations to God. On the contrary, this is a claim that God has against me, since I fail to act in accordance with my awareness. And even if I were to do so, would all of it be an adequate expression of gratitude to the Creator? May He be exalted for the smallest of His favors towards me. After all, what is the measure of my days compared to the measure of the days of the universe? Yet not even all those would be time enough to tell of the Creator's favors towards me. How much less, then, is it possible for me to repay what I owe to God for them? As it says in Scripture, all flesh is grass, and all its goodness is like the flower of the field. And as our sages of blessed memory have said, if I am not for myself, who will be for me? But when I'm for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? When the evil inclination despairs of enticing you this way, it will try to entice you from another angle.